Hi everyone and welcome to another video on iDoCare. Today we're going to talk about the adoption form and the adoption contract, two different documents which until now we had not yet used in iDoCare, which some of you had recriminated us in some way, which we deep down knew we had to do at some point. And dear family, that moment has arrived. We are going to start by talking about the adoption form, in fact, adoption application form. And this is a document that seems super convenient to me because in addition to providing us with information about the adopter with which we can assess if the person or family it is a good option for the puppy, it also helps the adopter himself to realize how prepared he is to adopt an animal, since by answering this question he answers them for us, but he also answers them to himself and can assess if he is really ready to face such a responsibility. And well, let's go with the form. We start with the name of the animal that they want to adopt, and we continue with a brief explanation of why that animal will be very happy with the aspiring adopter. We continue with the adopter's basic information, full name, date of birth, phone number, email, and full address. Then we ask if they currently have any other animal, and if so, what are they and how long have they lived with them? Because a person who already has a dog and has been with that person, for example, 8 or 10 years, well, it is something that will speak well of him or her. We also ask them if has their pets neutered, and if they are not, well, explain to us why. We also ask them to explain to us what happened to the animals that they once had, if they had them, and that they no longer have. If they were lost, they were poisoned, if they died of some disease, what disease, how old were they, that kind of things. We also ask them if they have ever adopted before, if they rent or own where they live, and if they rent, if the owner allows pets, because it may be that they simply don't even know and have never asked, and that once the puppy is in the house, the problems come. If the house has a garden or patio, and if it does, if it is properly fenced, and if so, how high the fence is, because for some doggies a short fence may be enough, but others, more jumpers and escapists, will need higher and safer fences. How many people live in the house, and especially if they all agree to adopt that pet, since in the end the pet will be another member of the family and everyone has to agree with that. This one that follows is very important too. Are you aware that a pet can entail many expenses? Well, many people don't stop to think about it, and in the end, that's the truth. Without going any further, for example, Buster, who gave us that scare the other day, and we had to take him to the vet with the corresponding expense that cost us. Here we come to another very important point too, and that many people don't think about when adopting, and that is what will happen to the animal if they move to another place, especially if it is abroad. Sometimes it is not easy to do, and it is something to keep in mind too. Later, in case of travel, emergency hospitalization, or any other situation in which you cannot take care of the animal, who will? How many hours a day will the pet be alone? Nowadays, it is very common to work from home, which is fantastic for pets, but if it is not the case, how much time will the pet spend alone, or especially how and where will he or she be? For example, she will be in the kitchen with access to the patio, or he will stay with my mother who lives in the house next door. Next, do you have a trusted vet or close to home? Also, more than anything, so that they take into account that this is very important. And finally, if you currently have pets, what periodic treatments do they receive? Deworming, vaccines, flea treatment, for the same reason, so that they know that all these are periodic expenses that they will have when adopting an animal, and obviously also to know how well cared their current pet is. Here we have included some rather protocol part you can read calmly by accessing the link to the worm that I will leave in the description of the video, and at the end, the adoption fees, which after much thought, we have left at 20,000 colones, about $40 for animals that are neutered, and a deposit of $40 too for those that are not neutered. $40 that will be returned to the adopter once we have strong evidence that the furry has already been neutered. I know that many of you will think that this is a very few amount, but at the end of the day, the only thing that I'm looking for is for a person that can demonstrate, that can pay for the animal. I don't wanna earn money with that. So if I am giving for adoption an altered animal, I think it's enough $40 for the person who compromise to me to take care of this animal for the rest of his life. And if the animal is not altered, but I still want to confirm that this person can afford expense for the animal, I think $40 at that point is okay, because he can show me that he can afford it. And the other thing that I want to make sure of is that that person is going to neuter that animal. So when he will do, I return him the money. That's all, or at least for the moment. And well, now we give way to the adoption contract. This document will come into play when the adopter has been given the go-ahead and we are finally going to officially formalize the adoption. We'll start with the name of the pet that is being adopted, followed by the basic information of the adopter and of the animal. Name, kind of animal, breed and color, sex, whether it is neutered or not, dewormed, and microchip number. At the moment, we are not doing it, but with AppAdopt, it is something that we are looking forward to start to implement. The chip is something that it is not mandatory in Costa Rica and with which it is practically unknown in the country. However, and when we grow a little more and we can afford it, we will deliver all the animals chipped so that they are linked to the person who adopted them, reducing even more the possibility of abandonment and greatly increasing the probability of finding the animal in the hypothetical case that will be lost. And finally, the obligations to which the adopter undertakes upon signing this contract. Offer the care that the animal needs, feed it properly, take it out for a walk, take it to relieve itself outside the place of rest and habitual residence, give it shelter and treat it with respect and affection. Take a sanitary control and visit the vet for vaccinations, deworming, and for any medical needs it may have. Don't leave the pet freely on public roads, parks, or fields without the supervision and care of the owner, keeping it on a leash whenever necessary. If this is the first time you are in charge of an animal, you will try to find out as much as possible about the basic principles to take into account to offer it a dignified life. Never neglect him, make him fight or work, or using it to breed. Don't abandon it, give it away, assign it, sell it, or sacrifice it without vet justification due to a very serious illness that requires it, and without prior written authorization from us. Will not perform amputations of any kind for cosmetic reasons. You must never hit, humiliate, or use it for a financial gain. It is the obligation of the adopter to inform us of any change of address that occurs, phone numbers or email, and especially death or loss of the animal. The adopter is fully in charge and responsible for the animal. The adopter will allow to be aware of the conditions of the animal in mutual agreement with iDoCare in order to observe the state of adaptation, general conditions of the animal, reserving the right to withdraw custody of it if it considers that it is not adequately cared for or the current contract is not fulfilled in any of its points. In the event that the adopter is not able one day to continue taking care of the adopted animal, he will proceed to notify to iDoCare immediately to jointly seek the best option for the animal. In the event that the animal is removed from the custody of the adopter for any reason, and if it presents some type of injury or requires veterinary treatment due to lack of care, illness, or any other, directly or indirectly caused by the adopter, for Heriby he agrees to assume all costs that must be incurred for the recovery of the animal. The adopter declares that agrees with the adoption conditions and that the people who live at home where the adopted animal will live have been previously informed of the desire to adopt it. All agree to collaborate and comply with the conditions of the contract as adopters, having previously been informed of the state of health, age, character, and physical characteristics of the adopted animal, and that this adoption does not respond to an impulse, but to a thoughtful act. And up to here, our adoption form and contract. Thanks a lot to Terry and Rebecca who helped me a bunch with their tips and recommendations to make these documents. I have tried to do everything in the simplest and most reduced way possible. Many more things could be included, I know it, but it is not the idea to scare people away or that the process is so complicated that we don't even have adopters. We are going to try these ones. I think it is a good starting point, and from here we will see the shortcomings that it may present and we will modify and improve it little by little. Also say that this form is only for dogs, because for cats we will have to make a couple of modifications, but hey, when we have a cat to give for adoption, we will do it. Remember that if you like what we do, you can give us a hand through our Patreon or PayPal, where you can help us on a one-time or on a monthly basis. Below in the description of the video, you will find the links. We would love to have our own space for doggies someday, but only with your help we can make it happen. Thank you very much for joining us in one more video. Remember that you can also follow us on our Instagram, IDoCareCR, where we publish a little more about our day today. I hope you liked the video. Please leave your comments. It's always a pleasure to read you. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you like what we do. And if so, I leave you here a couple of videos that probably you will like them too. I send you a big hug and see you very soon.